the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
So she has to wait for another 100 episodes, 95 more episodes before we'll get her the headphones?
Deal, yes. You and I had to wait for 200 episodes.
She's only waiting for 100.
She's only got to wait half the amount of time we waited.
But we do one episode a year. That's gonna be a minute.
Look, if you sign on to be the part of a podcast that's been on the air since 1823, then you're gonna have to wait. It's really a patient show.
It's a show about patience.
It is a show about patience. A show about.
Write that down.
Write that down. A show, but it sounds like it's got to be delivered in a very Jack Handy, deep thoughts way, a show
about patience.
Yes, that.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay.
All right.
Whoever gets it has to say it.
Has to Jack Handy
has
that
to
action.
Jack Handy it. Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. A show about patience.
A show about patience.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So no, it was the in the wall.
Yeah.
Wire cord hider is why we went to
we didn't need it
islands.
Because we have this TV on the wall, and we got one of those things that helps you put all your cables behind the wall so you don't have to look at it. It's just cleaned up. And Noel said we can return that because I've got
another way to figure it out to get those cords.
And right before
away.
we started the show, he pointed right there to where this giant wad of cable has fallen down from behind the TV and it's just sitting there hanging from the wall like an albatross, like a octopus, like a cord octopus.
The system I put together,
it was great.
It's not presently working.
It's the most Clark Griswold thing ever. You are
It was so good when I had it up there. It was all so nicely tucked away. But the Velcro system that I worked, it's just not. Yeah. Just it keeps failing.
Let me tell you something.
Am I terrible at this?
No, you're good at it. But it's hilarious because I've known Noel for I think 17 years now, something like that. Say long amount of time. And I've always known he's a little Clark Griswoldy, and I know that Christmas Vacation is definitely one of his favorite films of all time.
I mean, there.
He's very similar to Clark Griswold, and the older he gets, the more Clark Griswold he gets. The more it's just happening more and more and more.
Can't see the line, can you, Russ?
Yeah, exactly. But I think we did tell this story before about the holes on mounting the TV, which was very funny. But this is great because he did come up with a solution, and the fact that it has fallen down,
Velcro
just failed. Which we'll fix it.
And we returned this thing. We were talking about why we went to islands. It was to celebrate, and it's so hilarious because we just started talking about it, and the show was But then I was distracted by the headphones before we got. But we had started this conversation before you lit the red light on there.
Yeah, we did.
So people, it's hilarious because they really probably thought like, what the hell are they talking about?
What are they talking about?
I know. Do I need to rewind?
What did I miss? And that's what we like to do because this show is about
it's something about patience. I've already forgotten the tagline.
A show about patience.
This is a show about patience.
And that's what they learned from the very beginning of the show is that be patient. We'll eventually explain what it is.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. 45 minutes later. It's like when we did the golf episode, for those of you who listened recently, and we literally did a cliffhanger at the end of part 1, and we said, come back for part 2. And then we didn't talk about what that thing was until the last part of part 2.
We made you wait the entire episode.
Because it's a show about patience. How is everyone on this rainy, freezing cold LA day?
I'm really great.
I am too.
I'm really great. It was cold this morning.
Very cold.
I was fortunate enough to arrive at the same time as Veronica.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we both got to experience the freezing together. Only Veronica was prepared. She had this great big old jacket.
Huge jacket.
Covering everything. Like she was so warm.
Bundled.
She looked so
bundled.
Walking in a sleeping bag, basically.
Exactly.
I love it.
And this Dumbo the elephant.
This guy.
I'm like Mr. Jackets, right?
Were you in a midriff?
I've got all these jackets. And I'm walking around in a bikini out there. I don't know what the heck I was thinking today.
So you didn't really pack your heavy coats today.
No.
You have just a hoodie.
Just a stupid hoodie. Barely died. I walked out there. I thought I was going to die. Oh. I thought well, they're going to thaw me out like that caveman they found up in Alaska.
An Encino Man?
Yeah, in the documentary Encino Man.
Yes. They're going to thaw you out.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
No, it was cold, but Rod, I got to I got to live vicariously through the warmth of Veronica.
Yeah.
Because she was cozy. And I was like, oh, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
She's so warm, I can feel like how a person could be warm in this situation.
That made me warm.
Yes, exactly.
You know what? In a weird way, that's a condition I have, which not so much on the warmth, but like, yes, in the warmth, but in another context. I have empathetic feelings when I am warm and somebody else is overbundled in front of me. I begin to sweat and feel hotter because I'm seeing somebody else like in something warm. Like I have almost like I absorb their heat. So like it'll be really warm and somebody's like in a coat and I don't think they should be. So I'm always like, do you want to take that off? And they're like, no, I'm fine. And I'm like, because I'm like feeling hotter because they're wearing something like a knit hat on a summer day. I'm always like, God, it's making me so uncomfortable to look at them in the warm clothes. I don't know why.
I've got a card here for a doctor that
Yeah,
I'd really like you to visit.
I have some really, I know.
kidding,
I have
kidding.
No, it's true. I have some really weird things like that where, you know, being married to Jamie for a long time, I would, for the longest time, always be way warmer in a situation, whether it's in the house, and she'd be still sitting there with like a blanket and a hoodie, and I'd be like, do you want to, it's warm. And she's like, I'm fine. You do what you need to do. But anyway, yeah, it's
You
kind
are
of
a
like
hot person, though.
I am a hot person.
Yeah,
I am a hot
he's
person.
smoke show.
Smoke?
That's what Veronica meant, right?
Yeah,
You're a
yeah,
smoke
absolutely.
show.
Yeah. Obviously.
Please, Veronica.
Oh, my.
It's inappropriate. We can't be speaking about Jacob in such ways. I
apologize,
I
Jake.
can't handle.
It's okay.
Jay, I
It's
apologize.
okay. I am incredibly
No,
hot.
you are a
so,
hot person, though. You run very hot.
I do.
Which is what Veronica actually meant for the
Yes,
record and for Jamie
Yes.
and everyone else. That I
Yes.
took her words out of context in order to make a silly
I have
joke.
always been very hot and has been a burden since I was partnered with people in show choir and had to like be up close with them during shows because I would just be, it was like holding a wet towel of a person. Just like, oh God, Jacob's sweaty. So always run hot, man. Always run hot.
Yeah.
Yummy.
Have you been finding though now recently that you're running as hot
No.
since because
going
I don't know
down.
if anybody knows this or not, but Jacob is half the man he used to be.
I literally half the man I used to be. I have lost almost 30 pounds since December.
Yeah.
Almost 30 pounds, which is a lot.
You look pretty dang hot.
Thank you.
And I'm not doing that in the other. I'm doing.
You're doing it in
I'm
the
going to go
real-
ahead and they're going
Let's
to
just put it all on the line.
They're
right
going to
now.
send me to HR, and Jamie's going to slap me.
And she's going to go.
I'm going to go
"How-"
ahead and say it.
Yeah.
You are a piece of meat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Only not as hot though. As warm. Like,
Sustainably grown meat that is not as warm.
yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. You are cooler and yet hotter.
Yes. Thank
And
you.
a lot hotter, but not so cold all the time. Wait.
I don't know where we
I
are in
can't.
temperature, but this came from, I've talked about it on the show before, but I got gout over the holidays, and so it called for some serious dietary changes, and so I did that, and I'm taking good care of myself, and so I've spent months eating like a hamster, and it causes the weight to come off your body, so it's getting to a point now where it's under control and balanced, and so I'm able to have a slice of pizza or whatever from time to time, but I am eating way differently, and so the weight fell off my body, and I'll tell you what, what's nice about that is you get like 50% of your clothes in your closet back.
Yeah, it's
you get them
nice.
back. You go like, I haven't been able to wear this in like 7 years, so it's been nice.
That is cool.
Yeah. You inherit all these clothes. You're like, yes.
Yeah. You're probably gonna want to do like a shopping spree.
I really
soon here.
do.
Yeah.
I really do. I want to go.
Now that you look like a Ken doll, except you're not just a bump down there.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And you know this for a fact.
I've seen too much.
I've seen too much. I've said too much. Oh, you guys. Well, now that we are here together yet again, the gang, the amigos, let's do a show.
Okay.
How's that sound?
I would love to do a show. Would you like to do a show, Ronnie?
Let's do it.
What if she said no?
We'd have to wait. We'd have to continue to vamp.
Okay, we'll do
We'd
it.
have to keep vamping about the weather.
Another time.
Rewind. No.
Yeah,
About
rewind.
Barbies.
Yes, it's true. About Barbies and Ken dolls.
And bumps.
And
bumps. My lovely manly bump.
manly bump. Yeah.
Today we're doing a subject that, we've been on the air for many years, and so it's definitely come up before, but I don't know when I was scanning through, I don't think we ever did one that was solely focused on this subject, but the reason we're here today is we're talking about carbon capture. Ooh. Yes, carbon capture. And I saw a headline, and I was like, that's what made me catch it. And then I realized it was like, there's probably a lot of interesting ways of capturing carbon, since it's such a new thing, it's like a new idea, that there's probably all these companies and businesses and scientists and plans on how we can remove carbon. So I brought initially, just for the person who's never heard carbon capture before, I brought the definition out of the gate of what it is.
Let's rock and roll talk.
Okay. Carbon capture and storage, often called CCS, is a way of reducing carbon emissions, which could be key to helping to tackle climate change. It's a 3-step process involving capturing the carbon dioxide produced by power generation or industrial activity, such as a steel or cement making, transporting it, it's the next process, and then storing it deep underground is often what is used. So that is what CCS, carbon capture and storage, is. And so if everybody's talking about how are we going to change the world and reduce emissions and help prevent climate change, well, there's stuff being put out every day, but there's also what do we do with what's already out there, and how can we reduce what's already in the space, and then how can we reduce what's being put out there, because we're still every day more and more is being put out. So there's just got to be a way to grab it, and that's basically it.
Right. So carbon is like it's everywhere.
It's
right?
everywhere.
We're carbon-based beings.
Life forms.
Yes, like most of the life on the planet is carbon-based. It's a carbon-based planet. It's a rock. I mean, it's like there's carbon flipping everywhere. Okay. And so what we've essentially done the last little while is we've taken a liquid form of carbon called hydrocarbons, which are oil. We've lit them on fire and then changed them from a liquid to a gas, which is carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
This is a very simple explanation, but I know that we like those.
Do the simple explanation.
Because there is more to this. I always like to say that for the scientists who are listening. There's more to it, but this is your basic.
You got to basic. You got to go basic.
You're just converting the carbon by burning it into gas.
Right.
And that gas is CO2.
Yeah.
And then that CO2 tends to trap heat. And that's the problem that people are concerned about, right? So because there's carbon everywhere, if you were to capture it, is what they're talking about doing it, and turn it back into a liquid, or in this case, a solid, you can then take that solid, bury it back in the earth, and that's where you got it from in the first place. So no big deal.
No big deal.
That's kind of the idea. You're turning it into a giant carbon rock, and you're throwing it back in the ground.
Yep. That's the plan.
And that's basically that's one of the ways to tackle climate change. For some people, I feel like there's a lot of debate that could be had about how useful or productive it is. I think this is like an emergency solution, perhaps, right?
Agreed.
Because I think one of the coolest carbon capture things on Earth is life.
Yeah.
Right? Like a tree is a carbon capture device.
Yeah.
Right? Because a tree is a carbon-based life form.
Right.
It's made mostly of carbon.
Right.
So as the tree grows, it absorbs carbon from the atmosphere and from the ground, and it turns itself into a gigantic, beautiful tree.
But it's
that wonderful tree
carbon.
that you could sit under there is stored carbon.
Yeah.
That's what that is. It's just alive.
Yeah.
So that's why it's one of the reasons that we have the Johnny Appleseed Foundation, as we all know, are very familiar.
Yes, we count trees, and we're up to trillions now.
Yeah.
I actually lost count, so I think
we're
going to start over.
Start over. All right, so bad news, ladies and gentlemen. The Johnny Appleseed Foundation is going back to the beginning. We're at zero. We are at zero trees.
Man, that's a good bit. Which you're like on stage, and they're like, "We'd like to welcome Noel, Carol, and Jacob Gibbons from the Johnny Appleseed Foundation. How many trees are we up to, fellas?" And we're like,
"Okay, we're at 1 trillion." Wait, was that 1,543,000?
You guys, bear with us. We got to start over. We lost count somewhere in the trillions, and we're gonna need to get back to it.
Okay, so we're at zero.
We're at 0. 1, 2.
There's a tree there. 3. 1/4. Has anyone else seen trees today? We can add to the count.
Yeah. Up next, the Counting Stars organization. Oh man, they just come. They're so tired, man. So tired. But yeah,
I lost count somewhere at 17 quadrillion 423 trillion 264 billion 523 million 272,440. Oh, crap.
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's 42 or 43. I can't remember.
All right, back to 1.
Back to 1.
Yeah, so that's why we started the Johnny Appleseed Foundation.
Yes, to count the trees.
To count the trees, because that is our favorite form of carbon.
It is.
And it's more than just trees, right?
Yeah,
There's like the ocean.
The ocean itself is a big
Ooh-wee.
carbon sink, right?
So much going on in the ocean that absorbs carbon.
Yeah.
Right? So much life in there. So these are other ways to do it. But I think that the concept behind this and why we're talking about it is because we're a little behind.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do things to help, negate the problem before, like now.
Right.
Ahead of things.
Yeah.
And what's cool about this, and you mentioned it well in the description, is that the concept is let's not just randomly suck it out of the air. Let's go ahead and take it out of places where we know it's being created on the spot.
Right.
Like power generation, like cement mixing plants, like places where you are.
It's being pushed out in the atmosphere a lot.
Yeah,
right
like you could conceivably put them on like giant ocean liners, maybe something like that, because you're getting you have good stacks there where you could pick it off.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I think, the idea is to try to hit it where it's a problem and then eliminate that. The argument against that, if you want me to keep on my roll.
Yeah. Please.
The argument against that environmentalists would have is, well, that just continues the proliferation of coal-fired power plants. And
that people get to keep doing what they're doing.
yeah,
basically.
and I think that there's a pretty hungry desire, particularly amongst Veronica's generation, kids, to just like switch already. Let's go ahead. And I'm very pleased, by the way, with Veronica's generation. They're embracing nuclear.
Yeah, they are. I've seen some things recently where they're like, this would be a good solution.
Yeah, which is we need to do it. That's a really it's pretty awesome that that the information is getting out there. That maybe people listening to shows like ours are getting a little more data about it.
Yeah.
But they want renewables.
Right.
They want green tech. They want hydro. They want nuclear. They want that because they know that there just isn't a problem with greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you get rid of the problem of greenhouse gases, because power generation is, we think about cars, we think about the truck going down, spitting out, we think about that stuff because we see it.
Yeah.
We don't often see the power plant, spitting out, all the black smoke, right?
Right.
So I think that's why people don't think about that so much. But that's the problem. That's everything. Particularly if you're going to go electric. If we're going to have every vehicle be powered by a battery, then power generation becomes an even greater problem.
Yeah,
you have rolling blackouts, rolling brownouts, and all those problems because you don't have enough power. And when you don't have enough power, people freak the F out.
They really do.
Yeah.
They really do. It's one of those things that you can kind of casually look at from afar, but when it happens to you, when you're in it and your power goes out, if it's an hour, no biggie. If it's 4 days, that gets a little agitating, right? And then think about beyond that. I mean, there were people in the Midwest not long ago that had a power outage, in that Illinois, Michigan area, and they were out for it was almost a week. Yeah. And so that gets tough. You got to figure out, I'm going to have to go to my car to try to charge my phone just to keep in touch with people. If you don't have any power generation, your food goes bad. You have to throw it all out, start over again, just everyday things. When you don't have power, it's a lot. We rely upon it a lot. And like you said, as we electrify everything, the demand is just going to grow and grow and grow and grow.
And if that becomes a major situation and that power outage goes far enough and wide enough, and you start having supermarkets storing away food, and you start having
food crisis,
wait to see how many people start murdering each other in the streets when that happens.
By the way, this is probably the 5th episode where you've said when we have run out of food, we're going to war. I think you're gearing up.
I have a lot of dried food stored away.
I was gonna say
I'm prepared for the end of the world. I've got my guns.
I was gonna say I could do a supercut at this point now.
I've got grenades.
Where Noel's like, and then when you run out of food, people are gonna kill each other. He said, I was like, well, he is ready. He's in the bunker right now. You are in the bunker.
It's something I think
you must think about it a lot.
Well, no, I think it's something that we just need to keep in mind a little bit as we talk about transition.
Yeah.
The transition's so important, right? And I don't think that environmentalists like the fact that this is a show about patience.
You said it so well. So well.
But to some degree, you have to balance that. Like you need to keep pressure on
Yeah.
at all times.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nothing will be done because people are lazy.
Yeah, it's true.
And they don't do things unless you push them to do things or give them a reason to do something. Otherwise, they're going to hibernate. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So you have to keep the pressure on. So I don't want that to be misunderstood.
Pressure's there.
The pressure's there and it needs to stay there.
It needs to stay there.
But if you don't come up with solutions like carbon capture and storage, you don't come up with stopgap solutions to help the problem that exists right now, you're talking about social issues that will come from not having the things that we now require.
Right.
It used to be that electricity was a luxury.
Right.
We've built the world around it.
Right. It's
Do
true.
you know how to hunt and skin a deer?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't think anybody within 60 miles of you probably does either.
Yeah, get out way out there? Sure.
If you were up in nature, could you gather foods that wouldn't kill you?
No, I'd have a hard... I mean, I was a scout leader, so I could do about 20%.
Okay, so some degree, right?
Some degree, but...
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people
in this area who have no idea.
No idea. And they would eat a berry and die because they'd be like,
everything. The farming is not built for that anymore. Nothing is built for a world that doesn't have electricity.
And this is all within 100 years.
Yes.
I mean, it literally, like, there was a time where... Yeah, like you said, electricity and a copious amount of power was a luxury that most people were like, yeah, we have a little bit, we needed a little bit, but not everywhere.
Rich people had lights.
Yeah.
Very rich. The king and queen.
Yeah.
A couple of dukes. They had electricity in their home and lights.
Yeah,
Wow.
right. Wow.
Everybody else was kerosene lamps and good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Have fun out there.
It was just forget about it.
But now everything is electrified.
Everything. And we've built it on, we built the world on, we know we can refrigerate this thing this long. We know we can freeze this thing here. We know that we can power this thing over there. That we've built the entire world around the understanding that electricity is not a problem.
Yeah, I can write you and contact you at all times through an electrified device that requires charging. That's how I communicate. I'm not going to write you a letter. That's crazy. I'm going to email you. I'm going to text you.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
20. Not 100 years ago.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
That was not...
No.
You couldn't just pull out a device and contact me whenever you wanted.
I know.
You had to wait.
I had to wait.
We had to meet somewhere. We had to that was not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
But today, we are dependent on that.
Constantly. Like if you were to lose your phone and you couldn't get a hold of a new phone for 48 hours, do you realize that in that time, half your friends would be like,
oh my God, he's dead.
He's dead. Just because they couldn't get a hold of you in 48 hours. That's the world we live in now.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in now. And it needs to be powered.
Right. So what I'm saying is this is a show about patience. Because some of these ideas get very frustrating because you think, well, we're prolonging this bad industry.
Right.
I don't want to prolong the bad industry. I just don't want to be in a street war over who's eating the rice that I have sitting in my garage.
Right. And your bunker is secure.
Yeah.
But people can still get your rice.
And I can't have that.
I can't.
That's why I got the grenades.
That's why I got the grenades.
The rocket
Of course,
I have a tank buried in the backyard.
I have been holding onto this tank. Where'd you get it? Etsy. So let's share a little bit.
It's got great color.
It's got great colors. I bought the tank on Etsy.
I bought the tank on Etsy. It's got this kind of like pink and white candy stripe thing going on.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So cute. It was so cute. I got it. I love the little name on the side.
Yeah,
I love
kind
of like a ribbon pattern.
Oh, but it's a tank.
Oh, it's a vicious tank.
It's a vicious tank.
You should see the shells that load in that thing.
Beautiful. Yeah. All right. So the headline I saw that caught my attention, and then I brought some other, it said, more efficient way to suck up CO2 from air by storing it in baking soda and water.
Yeah, baby.
So it just goes to show you that all those years after your third grade assignment of making a volcano with baking soda, that it really was a life lesson.
It was worth it.
You needed to know what was happening. So this is pretty interesting. This is a more like the article that talked about other cutting edge carbon capture things out there. This one's pretty recent. This is just within a couple days, and it's a new discovery. So you like that? You like those new discoveries?
Let's get into it.
A new study shows that methods of sucking up atmospheric air and filtering out the CO2 can be improved by adding copper to the filter material, potentially opening up a technology to dozens more uses that could produce a meaningful difference in the fight against climate change. The addition of copper also converts the captured CO2 to a harmless baking soda that could be stored in the oceans or turned into a saleable product. Isn't that interesting? Copper.
You know what?
So grab your pennies.
Yeah, well, your older pennies.
Your old pennies. That's right, because they changed it, didn't they?
Yeah, the pennies are mostly zinc now.
Zinc.
So basically, if you have a penny that's newer than, we're going to go ahead and do now coin collection with
Coin
Noel
collection.
and Jacob.
Coin collection.
If you have a penny that's older than 1981,
that's when it was? 81?
keep it.
Okay.
Keep that penny.
I actually
Don't give it away. And any other coin from nickel all the way up,
Yeah.
stop spending them.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Seriously.
Keep them.
Hang on.
Keep those for the future generations.
You'll need it.
And the reason why
Yeah.
is because industry is realizing the importance of things like copper and nickel. And there is a
That's
lot
what
of
I like.
copper and nickel in those coins. Not the pennies that zinc.
Yeah.
You don't just,
You
well,
don't-
I mean, don't worry about the zinc too much.
Don't worry
That's
about
fine.
zinc
Just,
too
you
much.
don't have to keep those pennies. Spend those pennies, put them in a roll, get some dollars.
Yeah.
But the other coins, don't just hold on to them. Hold on to them because you probably
all coins, dimes, nickels, and quarter.
everything, particularly nickels. Nickels are worth about 11 cents right
Yeah.
now.
And did you say
Every
that?
nickel you have is worth 11 cents.
Did you say
in
the
metal.
cutoff date, or is it literally up until now? Like
We lose money in this. One of the reasons I think we're trying to switch to digital in the Fed is because it's so expensive now to make coins.
Really?
Because the value of these metals has gone up so much. Wow. Think about batteries, folks. We've had a battery episode.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Batteries are made up of cobalt and nickel, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. Nickel.
Yeah, nickel. Now nickels only have about 25% nickel in them, but still. And the rest of it's copper, which is useful stuff, as you can see right here.
Yeah, you heard it here, guys.
Yeah, all those quarters, they're like 8% nickel, and the rest is
Really?
copper. Yeah, it's pure freaking copper with nickel in it.
So if you watch Parks and Rec, Noel is like Ron Swanson in that he knows his wealth by weight.
Yes, that's right.
That's one of my favorite lines he says. I measure my gold in weight or whatever the line is.
I don't know how much it's worth. I just know how much it weighs.
Yes, it's so good. So good. So, okay,
Yeah.
that's good
well,
advice.
and that's the thing is back in the 1900s, in the early 1900s, people would just kind of hold on to their coins because back then all the coins were made of gold and silver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. Can you imagine? Mm-hmm. I remember my grandparents always had a giant jar full of change. Full. It sat behind the door. There it was. It was like just random, not specific kind of change, just change.
Where is it?
Out, long gone. Because they've all passed. And so
somebody took it and
somebody
some
came in.
a-hole probably wrapped them, took them to the bank, and lost a lot of money.
Lost a lot of money.
Because if it was your grandparents, then I guarantee you go through there, you'd have a bunch of silver in there. A bunch. Because they didn't stop the silver until World War II.
Wow. Yeah, it was.
That coins were made of silver until then.
That jar was full of coins from the time that I was born, all the way through the 80s, all the way through the 90s, and then when I left in the late 90s, it was still there when my grandmother was still alive. So somewhere along the way, she passed in 2012. Some relative came through and was like, "I don't need much. I'll just take that jar of coins," and got out of there.
And got out of there probably. Because probably in good shape.
Yeah.
I would bet.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it could seem silly, right? You're like, oh, who cares? There's nickel everywhere. They're like, oh, just you wait, Henry Higgins.
Just you wait, Henry Higgins.
It probably won't be any good for you or me, but our grandkids and their kids are going to be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This frickin' nickel's worth $600.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to know. So this was a new study that if you put copper in this filter, it'll turn the CO2 into a harmless baking soda that you can sell or it can go in the ocean. So look at that. right?
How about that?
Pretty amazing.
That is pretty good.
That was a cool study that was on the, I think it was the Good News Network that I got that. But now...
Good News Network has been a pretty good contributor to the Biofriendly Podcast the last few weeks.
Absolutely. We got friends in high places, in green places.
Yeah.
We got friends in green places.
The only thing I'm going to say on the last article.
Yeah. I didn't read much from it. If you'd like to.
This one seems to be based on just like we're gonna put this out there and suck the CO2 directly out of the air, as opposed to we're gonna catch it where it's a problem.
Yeah.
Which is again, that's fine. That's okay. I don't think that. And I've hinted at this in past episodes.
Yeah.
I don't think carbon capture is a good solution long term for the whole problem.
Yes.
I just don't. I think that it handles some emergencies.
Yeah.
But if it's something that we start to rely on, I don't think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I think we're better off to focus on the Johnny Appleseed Foundation.
Yeah.
I think we're better off to focus and keep putting pressure. This is where it's got to go between patience and pressure. I do think we need to put a little bit of pressure on industry to change our infrastructure.
Yeah.
And I just don't believe this is a sustainable. If we sucked up all the CO2 out of the air and turned it all into baking soda, we'd have a baking soda problem.
We'd have a baking soda problem, right? Got a baking soda problem. So there'd be
volcanoes everywhere.
So I hope that from this discovery of putting copper in their filtration systems, that this is something that's marketed towards the ones that are being placed where there's industry and it's not just for the general carbon capture, but it's specifically being like, hey, by the way, you're capturing carbon from your plant or whatever. We can help remove remove it and turn it into baking soda, but it won't be like just for the sake. Or you were saying it's good that it's not only towards the industry.
No, I want it towards the industry.
Towards the industry.
I want to focus. Focus on the industry.
Laser focus.
Laser focus on where the problem is.
Yeah. Okay, so here's some interesting carbon capture technologies that are out there. Okay, so capturing carbon from the air, direct air capture with balloons.
Okay.
Direct air capture, DAC, is the process that removes CO2 that's already present in the atmosphere. It's an energy-intensive process that includes capturing, heating, and compressing carbon, and as a result, is expensive to operate. But one company called High Hopes is pursuing a unique take on the DAC that relies on balloons. So this very well could have been that balloon that was shot down.
There's a Chinese company that had developed a bunch of these, and they released them over the U.S., trying to help us out. Trying to suck the carbon out of the air, and the Air Force shot them all down.
Yeah. So
some of them had some fancy twinkling lights. They look just like UFOs.
They look like this is a lot of the hype on the news about there's aliens everywhere, but it's probably just literally climate change solutions. And people are like, shoot it down. Yeah. We cannot have this weird foreign object in the sky. No. Yeah. So it says these aren't your conventional birthday balloons. Massive high altitude balloons are outfitted with carbon capture rigs and sent 10 to 15 kilometers above sea level, where temperatures are low enough to freeze the carbon dioxide. That's why they're up there in the balloons. So frozen CO2 transforms into dry ice, which is easy to capture.
Do you know who'd be comfortable up there?
Who?
Veronica in her coat.
Yes, she would.
She'd be fine.
Wrapped in her sleeping bag jacket. I love it. Oh, by the way, the little feedback protection.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have had a feedback explosion on the show. It happened again. It happens every once in a while.
Every now and then we get raucous. We get loud.
We do a little bit.
So that was the first one. Okay.
All right.
Any questions about the?
Why are we shooting them down again?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's fine.
So anyway, so cool, right? I just knocked my earphone. Oh, there it goes. Interesting, because these things come out if you knock them a little bit.
We shouldn't get one for Veronica. It'll be very frustrating.
Very frustrating. She needs to have just the one ear forever.
Yeah, she needs to have the terrible.
Okay, so
you are only like 99 and a half years away from
it. Will fly by.
It will.
This show is about patience. Food production up in the air, solar foods. It's no secret that feeding our appetite for protein-rich foods like beef. I don't know why I'm reading it like the Carl's Jr. guy.
Well, you've got a few like stock characters that come into the show.
Yeah,
we should name them.
Yeah, we should.
Like the guy who has the gun.
Yeah.
He's got the dip in his mouth, and he's really out there.
Yeah.
That's the guy who got the gun. And
let's name him.
And then the beef. Oh, there's this guy.
Yeah, I'd say
Reginald.
Going full Reggie.
Yeah. Reginald, here with my gun, my dip.
There's a balloon in the sky. Shoot it
I'm
down.
gonna shoot it down. Long range.
Uh-huh.
I got a long range rifle here.
Reggie.
I can snipe.
And then we get kind of
And then
kinda-
you've
kinda-
got the guy who gets all over the place.
Yeah, he sounds like the voice from the Jackbox games.
Yeah.
The Jack like up next, Jackbox games. It's like,
Jackbox
it's no
games.
secret that feeding our appetite for protein-rich foods.
And
like
I think his
kinda-
name is Nate.
Nate. So I'm going a little Nate on this.
Nate Baker.
Nasally Nate. Protein-rich foods like beef requires a tremendous amount of land. But there's an environmental cost to all those charbroiled burgers and steaks. The world's agri-food systems account for about 30% of greenhouse gas emissions. So, solar foods. Oh, wait. I skipped the most important part. It says, but sourcing food without using land is as likely as creating a meal out of thin air. Solar foods.
As likely as creating a meal out of thin air.
Solar Foods has learned how to do it. The company creates a protein powder called Solein that originates from a single microbe found in nature that's mixed with air and electricity. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen are captured from the air and used to grow the microbes naturally through the process of fermentation.
Okay. Hey, look. Sounds like a way to make money.
It does. What results is a thick liquid that is processed into a protein powder that can be added to a variety of foods to enrich them with protein, fat, dietary fiber, and nutrients. So anyway, a similar process is used by an emerging tech company called Air Protein. So we've got Solar Foods and Air Protein.
Meat gel.
Meat gel, your favorite
Who
kind
wants
of food.
meat gel?
Meat gel.
Grown from the sky. Can we shoot those out of the sky?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Think so. Cool. Your brains with meat gel.
Meat gel falling from the sky.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
I think that's interesting.
You know he loves it. You know he
love
loves
it.
it when he's like,
I love it.
yeah. Look, some of these ideas may not go far. They may not go far. They may not be picked up and taken forward. That's
Or
for
maybe
sure.
it will, and everyone's going to want to get
Everyone's
their
going meat gel.
The meat gel. I just, oof. Man, can't we just do it better?
Yeah, just do it better, man.
At
Do it
some
better.
point, can't we just live better?
Live better, man.
Yeah, we got to keep putting the pressure on, folks. We got to be patient, but jeepers.
Yeah.
If we're making meat gel out of carbon, I don't
know if it's. What
I
you
don't know
wanna
if
do.
we're. I don't.
Air
I
protein.
feel like we're losing our way a little bit.
Yeah, a
here.
little bit. Okay.
I don't know.
I just did the thing where the Yeti cups are heavy, so I went up with it hoping that there was more coffee.
And
it's
it was
empty. It's empty because that's the one deceptive thing about a Yeti is they're heavy.
Isn't that the funny? You get the incorrect estimation of effort.
Yes.
You're like it's full of. It's not full at all. And you lift it. It's like you lift the thing like it's nothing.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then it causes like a electrical jolt in your brain. You're like, what?
Totally. It's like when you step and there's not a stair there.
Yes.
It's your body goes, no.
Yes.
Yes.
Or when a door's jammed and
door,
you don't
yeah,
expect
yeah,
it to be. You're like,
yeah.
it's just like it shocks your brain almost.
It is amazing when the brain thinks something is about to happen and it doesn't happen that way.
Yes.
And everything goes Mayday for
Yes.
about 5 seconds.
Yes.
Like, why is everything upside down? Oh, it's just
Like,
a stair. The stair just wasn't in the right place.
It's just the door's jammed.
It's just the door's jammed. It's just that you finished your drink a moment ago. It's fine. Calm down. Those are the fight or flight reflexes. Like our caveman ancestors, living in the wild, they would have killed to have just a door jam panic.
Yeah.
They had to deal with a saber-tooth panic.
Yeah.
Is that a saber-tooth? Oh, no, it's just my wife.
Yeah. We're complaining about electricity.
Electricity, I know. Yeah. All right, here comes the next one. We'll see. Oh, wait. No, this one says 3. Sorry, the staple hit it for me.
Staples. Carbon-based staples.
Yes, using carbon to fuel airplanes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing right now.
Oh, yeah, carbon engineering. Okay, as the travel industry continues its efforts to cut greenhouse gas emissions, the airplanes that transport us to our destinations may get some help with CO2-based fuels.
Okay.
So Carbon Engineering is a company that captures CO2 from atmospheric air, then converts it to jet fuel. It's an exciting prospect, this is prospect for the air transport industry, which contributes to about 2.5% of GHG emissions per year. However, unlike carbon that's stored in formations such as rock or cement and permanently stored, The gas captured by carbon engineering and turned into fuel is released back into the atmosphere when the fuel is burned. In essence, this captured CO2 is recycled.
Yeah. Okay. So now we've made another CO2 loop, right? Where you
CO2 loop gets you.
You make a CO2 fuel.
Yeah.
And then you release it back as CO2, and then you have to grab it again, and then make more CO2 fuel, and then the net. I mean, the net effect is, I guess you're not adding more. CO2.
So, I don't. It's a transitional idea, maybe.
Except you have to change the entire infrastructure of planes to make it work. I don't like.
It's true.
Sure. So here's the thing: as we get better at batteries, which another thing we harp on, we harp a lot on
we
nuclear.
had an episode called "Build a Better Battery."
Yeah.
We made it into BBB because that's how much we wanted people to listen up to "Build a Better Battery."
Build a better battery.
Build a better battery.
Yeah.
Build a bear. Better battery.
Yes. Big beautiful bear.
Big beautiful bear. Go ahead.
So I look, the two things we harp on a lot are obviously nuclear, which we talked about earlier. But the other thing we harp on a lot is, I forgot my train of thought. I have no idea.
Batteries. Building better.
Batteries. Thank you. I get you start talking about beautiful bears, and I just get distracted. They're just so sexy.
So sexy. Batteries.
There's some concern about like putting batteries on planes, and like, is it going to catch fire? Right. Something. As we improve batteries and they get safer and better and do less of that kind of thing, and get more efficient. Actually, once you're in the sky and you're just maintaining your speed, it's more efficient to have an electric plane. Yeah. The problem is that getting it up there is incredibly inefficient with an electric plane, right? So you'd almost like to see a situation where you had like a convertible, like if you were going to change aviation.
A hybrid.
Yeah. You'd want to change aviation so that you had enough thrust to get it up into the sky, right? With a turbine.
Yeah.
And then once it's up there, you flip to the battery.
Yeah. A hybrid. That would be so cool.
And then you're once you're up there, you're in the atmosphere where they stay, and you can't get the freaking
CO2
greenhouse gases to leave.
Yeah.
You're using electric.
Yeah. That would be smart.
If you did that, then it would work, and actually it would be totally efficient. You'd be fine.
Yeah. Is that in motion, you think?
No.
Come on, get together.
No.
Get it together.
See, because the guys won't talk to each other. They won't sit there and be like, "Hey, how about we try to do?" But come together. This is a free idea for Boeing.
There you go. Listen up, Boeing. All Noel wants is $100 billion for that idea.
If you could just tell your friends about our podcast. That'd be, if you just do that for me.
Will you just tell people to listen to the show?
Listen to the show.
Yeah,
but no,
a
hybrid plane would handle most of the issues you have with aviation. You get it up into the sky, you definitely still be burning some at low altitudes. But
that's a huge improvement.
Yeah, once you get up there, you're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
So that's what I think they should focus on for aviation. I think that the carbon fuel is interesting.
It's interesting. Well, as we know, batteries to power these things are huge. They're huge. Like the ones in the Teslas are literally the entire floorboard of that vehicle. It's the battery is literally from the front to the back of the vehicle underneath you.
Yeah, you got to improve the battery.
It's huge. So to get something that could power a plane, I would imagine would be enormous and would be heavy. It would be very difficult.
There's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems. Yeah. But that's the
Build
way
a better battery.
In the end, I think that's where it'll go.
Okay. Cool. All right. Next up, capturing carbon in the ocean, amplifying the ocean's carbon sink capacity with running tide. Okay, the ocean is one of the Earth's most essential carbon sinks. We talked about it before. I love saying the word carbon sink, by the way. Just like the word sink at the end of it. It just sounds cool.
I actually would like to have a carbon sink.
Yeah, right? Like in your house. Dishes? Yeah.
Because if you get some nice polished carbon, it probably looks pretty rad.
Amazing.
You get like a carbon steel finish.
And then when people are over at your house, you should be like, where should I put my plate? And be like, just put it in my carbon sink.
Put it in my carbon sink. That's we got a beep right there.
Yeah.
I just felt like it needed a.
It needed it.
Back to back.
It did it. Back to back. It's okay.
Yeah.
Veronica's got me covered now.
Yeah. I did. I've been bleeping myself most weeks. But I couldn't this time because I needed people to know that I was saying
you know what? It worked, and it's a funny joke, and I'm glad you did it.
Thanks.
So the ocean is one of the Earth's most essential carbon sinks, absorbing more than 25% of the CO2 emitted in the atmosphere by humans. The startup company Running Tide wants to harness the ocean's natural capacity to absorb carbon with its emerging technology. It places microforests just below the ocean's surface that are made up of microalgae like kelp. As the mini forests grow, they absorb carbon, and once their growth peaks, sink to the ocean floor to become buried in sediment or eaten by marine life. That's basically the concept. Do you like this one?
I love that one.
I knew you would. As I was reading it, I was like, he's going to like this one.
I love that one.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Great
Do it.
idea. Do it.
You have the approval of the Biofriendly Podcast.
Yay, Running Tide.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we come to there's 6 of them. So I'm glad I'm kind of pushing through here. Okay.
Number five.
Adding carbon to soap. Clean O2.
Oh.
Okay. Well, yeah, Clean O2. While many of us wish we could sweep away our climate worries, there is one company that's created a way to wash your hands of carbon, literally. Canadian company Clean O2 makes bars of soap using the carbon captured with the Carbon X device that founders invented. Carbon X units are installed in buildings that use natural gas heating systems to capture carbon at the source and then transform it into pearl ash, potassium carbonate. The non-toxic pearl ash is added to formulations to create high-quality soaps and a variety of scents for hands, face, and body. Simply lather up and watch the carbon go down the drain.
I mean, if it's good for your skin and it works well as a soap,
not bad.
Which I have no reason to believe it wouldn't.
Yeah, but
I love it.
You like it? Okay.
I love it.
Okay, cool.
Because again, we're following the rules of the Biofriendly Podcast.
Yes.
You're taking the natural gas carbon.
Yeah.
And you're turning it into
something we can use
to captured carbon, and you're creating a soap out of it, and then that soap goes down to the sink, and that's fine. That's good.
Yeah,
that's a good. You've even discovered a way to use the carbon you've captured.
Yeah.
It's unlike these baking soda guys who are again they're fine.
Fine.
But how much baking soda do we need?
How much?
It's not like there's a shortage of baking soda.
Right. Is baking soda something that we make, or is it something that we've?
It exists.
Oh, it exists. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You can make it, but it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Okay.
It's like
it's like a salt sediment type thing.
Yeah.
It's like just a couple chemicals thrown together to make baking soda.
Sodium bicarbonate.
Sodium bicarbonate. Common. Okay. Good to know. Baking soda. Arm & Hammer, you're not that special. The last one, I don't know how to pronounce the name of the company, but it's Canadian. And so take what you will of how a Canadian would say this word. Svante. Svant?
Svant.
It sounds so German. It
does.
Right? It's like, where did he work?
This is which company?
Canadian. So Svant.
Maybe.
Svante? Could be Svante. Svante. It sounds like
let's try to get ourselves into the Canadian, and then we can maybe figure out how they'd see it.
It's one of those things we tend to never think about.
Maybe Svanny.
Yeah, Svanny. Oh, yeah, that's how you. Oh, yeah. If you're up in Canada, you see Svanny.
Svanny, maybe.
Like I bet you, when people meet them, they go, "What is it, Svant?" And they go, "No, I mean it's Svanny."
Let's go with that.
It's one of the things we tend to never think about, but cement is an integral to all our lives, from highways to homes to hospitals.
Oh, you tell them. That's right.
As the backbone to our infrastructure, the cement industry accounts for about 8% of the world's CO2 emissions. Oh, I'm kind of going New York, Jay. Sorry about that.
He's a New York Canadian.
He's
from Toronto.
Upstate New York. Interestingly, it also provides an effective means for storing captured carbon.
Do you want to know a secret?
Yeah.
Being in character and having the bit with the Canadians made it so I didn't hear a thing you said.
I know that is the problem when you do characters is you're thinking about the accent and you're not thinking about the words.
No idea what happened.
So I'm going to say it again.
That was a blackout.
Normal Jacob voice. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. As the backbone to our infrastructure, the cement industry accounts for about 8% of the world's CO2 emissions. So cement takes a lot. Mm-hmm. Interestingly, it also provides an effective means for storing captured carbon. So
you're driving on the carbon every day.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. You're on the carbon. Canadian company, what did we say it was? Svanny has developed the technology to capture large-scale CO2 emissions from cement facilities. like the Lafarge. I love that
Lafarge.
name.
It's hard
Cement.
not to be in the Canadian when you're doing the Lafarge.
That was Lafarge. Lafarge. Lafarge.
Lafarge.
That is a word. You know how when we talk about as actors, there's words that you can say that immediately get you into the accent. Lafarge is one that right away I go, Lafarge. And then all of a sudden I'm Canadian and everything's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, like the Lafarge cement plant in Richmond, BC, British Columbia, that can be injected into concrete as a permanent storage solution. So I like what Fanny's up to up there.
Yeah, we're making roads anyway.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
What the heck? You got to put something in that there.
You're driving on it. You got to build a hockey rink.
You got to build a hockey rink.
Yeah,
out of the cement.
That's right. Got to put it in.
Cement hockey rink. And then put your wheels on your feet.
Yeah, put the wheels on your feet. Is that a roller rink?
I don't know.
But that's it, guys. That is carbon capture and storage. And so what we've learned today is that
I don't know. I don't think we learned anything today. I don't know. I feel like we forgot a lot of stuff today.
I do feel like my brain.
A lot of the important things we learned over the years are gone.
I feel like.
Do you know what? Go ahead. What do you feel?
Retention of information is getting harder and harder and harder.
The good news, Jacob,
Yes.
is that there is a Johnny Seed Appleseed Foundation, and that there is a podcast that's going to keep delivering top quality content. The bad news is we forgot how many trees we're counting, and we don't remember what we were talking about in our show.
Yes, and we never forget our tags because it's impossible. I am so glad. I'm so glad that these are being recorded because when we are old, well,
it's never going to
happen. When we're old and gone, we're
Also
going to be
never gonna-
remembered as people who gave very helpful, knowledgeable information. But if you will grab us in life and say, that's so great of what you shared and educated me on, we'll go, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, what?
It doesn't sound familiar. Are you sure it's me? Because I don't remember anything about today.
No, it's all gone.
It's all gone.
It's all that amnesia struck.
But we're leaving a nice legacy without even knowing it.
I think that is actually a nice little thing, isn't it?
It is. It is nice.
It's like a diary.
It is a diary. We are leaving behind
Environmental
a diary.
diary.
Yeah. And one day somebody's going to go see these 8,000 books full of information, helpful information.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go, who wrote that? You did.
You did.
You're going to go, well, I'm glad somebody did it. You did it. Who am I? Oh, you guys, that was awesome. Now will be the fun part where we really let our magic brains shine and we try to get through the text.
Yeah. Context. Context. Well, Jacob and Noel are still catching up from a late night.
This is true.
Jacob here is, as many of you probably know, because a lot of our fans are also fans of Jacob's rock and roll Instagram and TikTok channel.
Oh, thank you. No.
The Jacob Givens.
The Jacob Givens.
Or the Jacob Givens.
It's the Jacob Givens on TikTok and just Jacob Givens on Instagram.
Jacob Givens on Instagram.
Follow me. Well, more importantly, follow Biofriendly Planet. And can I give yours?
Sure.
Noltron.
If you want no content at all.
If you want no content, look, if he did post content, when he does post content, it's
dynamite.
very dynamite. It's funny. It's, you know what he's like? He's like waiting. He's the Disney Vault of Instagram. It's like maybe one day they're going to release the Fox and Hound or the Rescuers Down Under. Maybe. I don't know. But he's literally, his posts, when they show up, you're like, oh, it happened. It's like a season of Barry. It's exciting.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
But Noltron is also on Instagram and Biofriendly Planet. But go on what you were saying about the rock thing in case they don't know.
So Jacob is well known in that community. So much so that like half of the rock stars who ever did anything are like friends with him now, which is just the most hilarious thing.
It's really cool.
Because he's, Jacob is the most knowledgeable person when it comes to music I've ever seen or heard of anywhere, which is, I think, why you're so famous.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, for those of you who do follow Jacob, it's not like he suddenly was like this. We would play this game called King of the 90s, where we would sit around a fireplace, and then you would come up with some song, and you'd within I would say 4 or 5 notes of singing whatever the song was or playing it, Jacob would tell you exactly what the song was. He knew exactly what it was. So his mind is very tuned into music, which is why he forgets what happens on the show.
There's so much up there. I still know all the words to Ice Ice Baby for no reason.
For no reason.
But it's there, but I can't remember what we just podcasted about.
The room it's been filled with music.
It's too full.
So he's a good follow if you ever want to learn anything about music. But this is a tangent, tangential but worth it.
Yeah.
He was invited to be part of this thing called Rock and Roll Camp, which they do around the major cities in the U.S. And this time it was in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And so he got to play with Kim Thale of Soundgarden. Pretty flipping amazing.
Yeah.
And was coached by Sam
Maloney.
Sam Maloney, right. Sam Maloney, who is the drummer for Hole and toured with Motley Crue.
Yeah, toured with Motley Crue.
Which is like...
amazing.
Mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
You know, Sam's rad, by the way.
Amazing. Samantha, you are the GOAT.
Yeah. So anyways, we went to watch Jacob perform in a show at the Whiskey on a Sunday night, because that's when they do it.
That's when the closing thing was.
And it was so cute because you had all these people who were from you had like
Florida,
accountants and bakers and like plumbers and just random people from all over the country who got to come in and do this rock camp.
Yep.
And play with Kim Thale and have like their own celebrity coach like work with them on the band, and it was amazing. And so you'd see these people just living their dreams,
You could see it on their faces, just like this is my moment.
It was so outstanding in a packed house at the Whiskey, right?
Yeah.
And so they're playing with real rock and roll stars and and just having the time of their life.
Yeah.
And so Jacob, because he's kind of a big deal, they had him last. He was like the closing act, so I had to stay the whole time. Unfortunately, I would have definitely left early. You know me.
Totally. Well, you know, all of us, if we find out something is happening in Hollywood and it starts at 10, all of us are like, nope, not going to do that. Not going to be there. No.
Not anymore.
Now, this thing started, it was supposed to start at like 7:30 or 8, but I don't think the first band even started going until like 8:30. It started late.
Yeah.
And then they said, you know, my band is last.
Yeah. And there were 13 bands.
13 bands to get through.
I don't want to say that it wasn't a good, because honestly, watching the 13 bands was so enjoyable because of what it clearly meant to every single person who was doing it.
Including a 10-year-old kid at one point who was on stage playing,
I mean, it was awesome. It was really awesome, and it was a lot of fun and a worthwhile event to go. So if you hear about it nearby, it's worth going.
It's worth going, yeah.
But when you have work the next morning at the crack of dawn and you're up until 1:30 a.m., which we all were. It takes a couple days at 32. We're 32. We're
32-year-old men.
When you turn 32, it takes you a couple days to recover from that. So we're recording this on a Tuesday, even though we're releasing on a Friday.
Yeah, that's right. But we're only about a day off of that experience. So yesterday we were feeling a little rough, but today it's still at 32 to be expected. It still lingers a little bit.
We're pretty good. But it takes a little more mental acuity to get through the Biofriendly Podcast.
Yeah,
and so if we're a little fuzzy, that's probably why.
Yeah, and if we had done this show yesterday, it would have been just a train wreck. We would have just
been
worth it. We would have might have been the most comedic show ever, because we would have been like, "What are we talking? What are we doing? What is happening?" Yeah. But anyway, so thank you for explaining that and sharing the story. Thank you, Noel.
Also, by the way,
thank you, Noel.
Jacob is such a good guitarist, a very underrated skill that he has on top of all of his knowledge of music. And he was up there, he shredded this solo that was just freaking lightning.
I got to play Vaseline by Stone Temple Pilots, and I got to put my foot up on the speaker and take the solo, and
he was humping the guitar and everything. It was gold.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was definitely a dream come true. The people that I got to interact with. So
I honestly, you looked like you were one of the counselors, like you were one of the coaches. You were so comfortable up there. You were so that was your home.
No, I felt.
It's like you were in your living room by the fireplace, just chilling out.
I did. I loved every second.
Could not believe how happy you were up there.
But it was a joy to look out into the crowd and see the faces of Noel, his wife Talia, my wife, and my friends Clayton and Heather. It was a joy to see all their faces there cheering me on. That really makes it special.
Yeah, someone screamed, "I love you, Jacob Gibbons." I don't know who that was.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. But his voice sounded familiar.
I think he might have thrown his panties on stage too if you weren't careful.
All right, you guys. Thanks again for supporting the show. Remember, you can always find us. Go to Biofriendly Planet, where all this information is that we talk about is on incredible articles and blogs, and we put the podcast there. And there's just a lot of information, image of the day, and this is gonna be inside baseball. We have a new website design that is coming to you very soon, and it looks amazing. It is going to blow. It's going to knock your socks off. It is the most cool-looking, sleek, bad. I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
Looking site.
Biofriendly Planet is having a whole there's a renaissance.
This coming. Is a renaissance.
We're spending quite a bit of money, time, energy, and effort on taking it to the next level.
We're taking it to the next level.
And once we kind of get the current iteration of Biofriendly Planet to that amped up level, you're gonna see some cool stuff coming around here. We're the company's growing. We're doing well, and we're
moving on up.
We are investing in some cool stuff. So there is some fun things that are going to be coming. In the next. Let's say a year. Because there's
some time to put it
a lot
together.
of fundamental foundational stuff we got to put together to get it right. But Biofriendly Planet is going to be a fun place.
It's going to be a fun place, and you guys can be the cool ones. You can be the hipsters, and you can say, "I was there. I've been there since the beginning, dude."
Yeah,
I've been listening to shows since back in the day when they were in the other space. I've been there since they were doing the Week in Green. I've been there the whole time, bruh.
And for those of you who've been around since flipping Good Cops.
Right.
And there are a few of those too who came straggling along. Yeah. You will probably be most excited by what's to come in the future.
I think so too. So
it's going to be no more, right?
No more. That's it. We got to keep it mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
But visit us on Biofriendly Planet. Find us on all the social medias. Always write to us and tell us the subjects you want to know about or the questions. We'll tackle them and do the best we can and make it fun for you. Mm-hmm. So with that, we have been your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Bringing you top quality content since 1823.
Science without the suffering, succotash, stiffness. Science without the stiffness.
Green without the groaning?
You got it. And then this is a new one from last week.
Inspiring.
Oh yeah, inspiring. I don't know. What is it?
Inspiring fear and love.
Oh. Okay.
That's a good tag.
Inspiring fear and love. And then this is the new one.
This is the
which
new
you
one.
say,
which I say 1,000 times.
Yeah, you said
so I
it's 'cause
obviously
it's
remember
Jack
it right
Candy,
now because
Jack
I said
Candy.
it 1,000 times in the Jack Candy voice. Oh, this show is about patience.
That's it.
Right? Is it the show is about patience?
The show is about patience.
Yes.
Those are the exact words?
This show is about patience.
The show is about patience.
about
That's so hilarious. I said it 6 times, and I literally, this is what I'm talking about, is rock and roll brain, Brent.
Rock and roll brain. So with that, we will say, Veronica, take us away.
Stop and smell the flowers.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.